Okay, what's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and CreateSpace. A link will be in the description box below as usual. This video is entitled Financial Self-Esteem. We live in America. Capitalism. Christianity. Guns, But I'm using money more so. A lot of times people's self-esteem is tied into their finance. And I think sometimes we don't want to admit that, you see people buying things to feel more confident, to feel more important, to feel happier about life. They say, money can't buy happiness, but in this society, maybe it leases or buys you self-esteem for a certain amount of time. Because everything we do is for money. And it's not just that we do things for money. It's that our intentions of what we're going to spend our money on and how it makes what we buy, how the things we buy make us feel a certain way. And you notice that because you see people, you don't see too many people, especially from a certain age, who, if they don't have money, they're depressed. But if they do have money, they're happy. And you hear poor people say, if I had all of your money, I wouldn't have any worries. And sometimes you hear rich people say, the money, money doesn't buy happiness, but they never give up the money. So you got to ask yourself, and capitalism is financial self-esteem, and using Christianity on a little bit. People go to church and people pay tithes and offerings, and you feel guilty if you don't have money to give to pay in tithes and offerings, and you feel important if you got money to spend on tithes and offerings. Are you giving to God? Are you giving to church? You know what I'm saying? And I remember there was a passage where it's not really what you give. It's relative. Your giving is looked at in a certain way by how much you give compared to how much you have. And we skip that. We really skip that part. So that's a problem. And I have to get into that because, in our societies, we are a respecter of persons. Respect can change for a person on a dime if you find out their finances. If you've been places where somebody was treated like trash, and then somebody says, you know who that is? Or AKA that means that person got money. And that person that you treated like trash, all of a sudden you turn around and be like, hey! Because that money bought your respect. Excuse me. Same thing is when you meet a person and they ask you, do you know who I am? They expect you to respect them more because of their finances. Your finances tell you, you're going to respect me. You're going to treat me better than everybody else. I'm better than everybody else because I have more money than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And I think, and then when people, you get in this society where people who are accustomed to a certain lifestyle, if they lose their money, they get suicidal. So you can't say finances aren't attached to self-esteem because person has money, they're on top of the world. Person loses money, they want to jump off a building. So we don't take these things into consideration. And for some of us who've grown up in poverty, you didn't know you was poor because you was a kid having fun. You might have had to hit a certain age and people make fun of you because you're poor. And when you start to realize you're poor, we're indoctrinated. We're indoctrinated after a certain age, that if you don't have things, you're not a good person, and people believe this, you know. Um, and it's funny because when you go out, you want to look your best. You know, you put suits and ties and the best clothes on children to adults, and the minute you change into that finer attire that says, you have money, once you change the uniform from poverty to success, or even at the look of it, you know what I'm saying? Your confidence goes up. If you look like you got money, people, people treat you differently. If I walk out of my house in workout clothes, I'm not going to be looked at the same as if I walk out of my house suited and booted. Now I'm a sexy motherfucker, but that's neither here nor there. But you have certain expectations of other people when you have a different amount of money. There are numerous people that walk into plenty of restaurants and nightclubs, and they want it to be seen as important by spending money. Our materialistic, more so flashy society says the same thing. And because there are more people without money than there are with money, people buy. Rich people are very inconspicuous rather. They blend in because they don't want to be seen as rich. People who are poor want to be seen as rich, but you just want to feel that. This is why people go places and do things. Like, people aren't comfortable in poor environments like they are in a richer ambiance, because people associate themselves with wealth. It makes you feel better about yourself. You get on social media, people are trying to show you their lifestyle, whether it's real or fake, because they're trying to, in some ways, brand themselves and sell themselves, and then they say they're selling the lifestyle, and when people are supposed to look at this particular lifestyle, it gives them a better sense of a better sense of self-esteem, because I can fly here and do this and make this kind of money coming from where I came from. So can you. So you can live like me. Like, the American dream is tied into get rich or die trying. And it's like the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. You feel like you won in life if you win it financially. You feel like you lost in life if you low financially. So, and the one thing about confidence in particular, that's something from the inside out. See, certain people can fall down and pick themselves back up an infinite amount of times because their confidence is inside. To break somebody's will is a very difficult thing to do. But finances can break people's will, because we're programmed to think that that money makes the man, and man doesn't make the money. I have these shoes, I have this outfit, I have this car, I have this house, I fly first class. These things make you all feel better than anybody else, This is where I eat. This is what I drink. And it's always in comparison to what you had when you were poorer. You know, you don't get until you get to very rich people when they say, look, you know, I can afford the finest foods in the world, but I just happen to like Cheetos and Oreos. Because, you know, sometimes people have to get finance and get a lot of money to realize that they are who they are. Other people want to be something other than what they are, and they use money as an escape if they get it. So, but it's interesting to me because if your finances define your self-esteem, then your self-esteem is always controlled by who pays you or how much you get paid. And that's a dangerous spot to be in. You know, it's a very dangerous spot to be in because because the value you have for yourself is based upon the salary you make, the wage you make, or the amount of money you generate, and not the abilities that you have. Because your ability should give you self-esteem, but in this culture, I think most people finances give them self-esteem. So, you know, we out. Peace.